What's going on, everybody? Back again here for Rolling Out Star Studio. Your host, Malik Brown. Of course, here at Star Studio, we talk to some amazing people doing some amazing things in the entertainment industry. And today, we have two young men with me today. I'm here with Rick Mathis and Ash Cass. Guys, how y'all doing today?
Doing well, brother. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, definitely doing well, man. Thanks for having us.
For sure, for sure. So, of course, guys, we're here to talk about B1 the movie curriculum. Earlier this year we talked about B1 the movie. Of course, Rick and his wife, they both produced this movie, and now it's the curriculum is out. Rick, just first of all, just fill us around the curriculum and everything.
Yeah, so B1 the curriculum is a curriculum that mirrors the movie B1 the movie. So what we've done is we've taken the 5 episodes that are in the movie, we've broken that down, and we've created this 140-page curriculum that has exercises in the curriculum that mirrors the film. One of the exercises in particular deals with building wealth as a family. We talk about trust. We talk about families that have built wealth from some of the ones that are right here in Atlanta, from the Russell family and people like that. So we actually start look at the Constitution, and then we write our own family constitution, and sign it and have meetings, because it's important that we operate as a family. Business is a family, is a team sport. You know what I'm saying? We've been taught that business is a singular sport where you go after business as one person. But if you look at the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, and people like that, they approach business as a team. When you look at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they approach business as a team. And that's some of the things that we have to start doing as Black families.
Of course, talking about movie curriculum. Your thoughts on the message and what it sends to people and viewers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's so vital. Just piggybacking off of what Rick said. When you think about Black family, that equals Black wealth, right? And so when you hear stats about how there continues to be a divide in generational wealth, and their our wealth. I recently saw a stat that talked about the average Black family has $17,000 worth of wealth, while the average white family has $177,000 worth of wealth. And so that wealth divide keeps widening. But why? Right? You see a decrease in marriage. You see a decrease in positive images that we see as a family. You think about the last time you saw a positive Black family on television, and then ask yourself, is there a direct correlation with us seeing positivity and seeing what a unified front looks like, and the widening of generational wealth? And so it's important that we go back to the roots, right? And B1 the movie, B1 the curriculum is doing that with a focus, right? Kwanzaa's coming up. We got cooperative economics is one of the 7 tenets. And so how do we get back to that? How do we understand that cooperatively, right? When you think about, this African proverb that say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And it is the family unit. It is us putting us first, and us understanding that this is not the time to allow division to put us, further apart. And I think once we start to understand that, again, the curriculum, the movie is the beginning aspect of it, but we like, it is vital that we come together in order to build Black wealth. Because when you think about building Black wealth, that literally will solve every other problem that we're having. You want to talk about health, you want to talk about killings, you want to any problem that's happening in the Black community. If we solve the unified front of us building Black wealth, it will almost be solved overnight.
Exactly. So what we're doing, we're hosting an event coming up on December the 28th, B1 Kwanzaa Experience. And basically, what that is it's an opportunity for us to come together, for us to show episodes of the film, B1 the film, because it's produced in episodes, and to have dialogue around those episodes. As Ash Cash just so eloquently said, if you get the money right, then it solves all the other problems. So in B1, the movie, we touch on what is it going to take to put our health first? What is it going to take to put relationships first? And we're talking about family relationships as well as business relationships. What is it going to take to put our children's education first? You know what I'm saying? So if you address the financial issues, then you address all of those other concerns. So at B1, the Kwanzaa experience, we're going to have the live music. We're going to have the pop-up shop. We're going to have vegan food. We're going to have what we're calling the Black Business Roll Call. And what the Black Business Roll Call is we're giving Black businesses about 45 seconds to stand in front of an audience and highlight their business. Give us a commercial about your business. And then we're going to shoot that content, produce it, and it'll be curated around the film that all of us will share. Everybody from Ash Cash to Dr. Boyce Watkins to Rashad Ritchie, who's also supporting the film. So it will be shared on all of these different platforms as Black businesses that you should know about and you should support going into 2024.
Of course, going into 2024, I know in B1 you all talk a lot about being on code.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? I feel like you talked about this the last time when the movie came out, but and I want to get your opinion as well about being on code. What does that mean?
So I'm glad you asked that question. That's an excellent question. What we do is we start the film with our definition of what it means to be on code because we want to add context so that you'll know exactly what it means to be on code. And what I would like to share with you from the B1 curriculum is what it means, the definition. Being on code means being sensitive to what Black society needs to survive and thrive, and putting those needs first and foremost before one's personal needs. All other races do this. That's why they're so successful. That's why they're winning. So we, as a Black race, have to start doing this as well. We're not putting any other race down. We're simply saying, hey, it's time for us to put us first. Because if you look around, other people have been feeding off of our culture, off of what we produce, off of our talents, our knowledge, our inventions, and it's time that we eat from that. And I'll conclude with this. Imagine if the first DJ that started scratching on turntables, right? Imagine if they had took that concept and they patented that concept and they passed that patent or that IP down to their family would still be eating. But instead of their family eating, the DJ that first started, I don't know if it was Cool Herc or whomever, you may know Ash Cash, you from up top.
Yeah.
But if that was passed down, but instead what's happening? You got Technique, saw the idea, saw the culture, saw the coolness of it, took that and put it into a product, a brand that is being marketed that we now know about. And guess what? Now their family is eating off of that. Something that we invented.
Absolutely.
That was cool
Yeah.
in the Bronx.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to start doing that. We have to understand the rules of the game and start doing those things so that we understand that it's about business.
Yeah, and just to add on that, I think that we are one of the only races that we take things personal for the detriment of business, right? And what I mean by that is, so my background, I was a banker for 15 years, and I've worked with with different ethnicities, different cultures, and to the point where I was working with highly affluent families, and you would think that everybody got along, but in different cultures, I've heard them curse each other out. I've heard them physically fight, and I've heard them do so many things that you would think would end a relationship, but when it was time to get down to business, you wouldn't even know. Like they would sit in front of each other and they would get down to the business. And I think that we've been in situations as a culture of not really being taught about business and understanding how business really works, that we start to blur those lines, right? We start to blur, what wealth is about compared to what my personal feelings are, or what I like about you, what I dislike about you. And so being on code, so being on code doesn't mean allowing for certain levels of disrespect and not treating each other according to how we should be treated. But being on code is really about understanding that yes, our life is our life, and we want to maximize our full potential and be the best that we could possibly be. But ultimately, it's about the next generation, right? It's about making sure that your life mattered. It's about making sure that when God calls you home, that you being on earth actually mattered, and that you're the last generation, right? Jay-Z once said, the child shall lead, right? So I'll take it as far as I can, and then we shall see. And what does that mean? That means that everybody that came before you took it as far as they could, and then now it's your turn to go, right? Now you go, you take it as far as you can, and then the child leads, right? And so imagine even us right now sitting down, and we're at a space where we have the most opportunity than we've ever had before. We have we're making money, right? We're just not keeping the money, right? So we're making as much more money than we've ever made before. So imagine if we operated like the Rockefellers, right? Like, people don't even realize, right? Like right now, and y'all can do the research, but right now, we're in Atlanta. We don't even realize that Spelman College is named after Rockefeller. Right. We promote Spelman, we promote Morehouse, and we promote these colleges like these are our institutions, but they're not. Right. These are and they were smart enough to know, all right, let's not call it Rockefeller, but let's use the middle name. Right. And so why am I saying this? I'm saying that hundreds of years later, right, the Rockefeller family is still like none of their ancestors ever have to do anything, have to work because of what the generation has done before. And so they are an example of a family that was on code. They understand, right, that own nothing, control everything. Right. And so now it's all about control. It's all about figuring out how do you create this code of conduct as a community that allows you to build wealth, build assets, and so that way you can focus on your gifts. And so I agree that it's time for us to create a code, follow that code no matter what.
Rick, for you, for going to the curriculum, what are some of the steps that are shown in the curriculum for us to get on code? What are some of those?
Yeah. So right now, what's pretty that's trending in the media, on social media, is the music. D1 started an amazing conversation on the Sway in the Morning Show. And D1, the hip hop artist, is featured in B1. So one of the exercises that we have is called Face the Music. And simply what Face the Music is we're stopping the music, we're printing the lyrics, we're reading the lyrics, and then we're asking this question: are these lyrics on code or are these lyrics off code? How do these lyrics portray the black male? How do these lyrics portray the black female? How do these lyrics portray the black family as a whole, as a unit? So that's one of the exercises in this film, and it's rated so you can score one of the exercises in the curriculum. So you can score these questions, based on a 1 to 10 scale, and there's 10 questions that's asked, which totals 100 points, right? So you'll be surprised because most of the people that answer these questions and that rates, these questions end up with a score of about 23 out of 100, right? And then the final question that's asked is, would you refer this book or this music, this song, to a family member, to a friend? And most of them say yes, even with a low score of 23. So That's the thing. One of the things that we addressed. We had a dialogue or a conversation with focus group with some students over at Clark Atlanta University, speaking about the AU Center. And this was before we released the film. We just did a focus group, and we had a conversation around the music. So I intro that conversation by saying, in the '60s, James Brown was singing "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud." In the '70s, Gladys Knight was singing about love on a midnight train to Georgia to find her love that she once knew. In the '80s, we had Michael Jackson dancing and singing "Beat It" and Thriller and all of that, right? But towards the mid '80s and late '80s, what happened? That's when the music started to change. So when the music started to change, George Fraser so eloquently says in the film, what happened to black people is we changed when our music changed. So when the music started to change in the '80s, we had this gentleman out of Miami by the name of Uncle Luke that made it okay for our women to take their clothes off in this music. We had a gentleman by the name of Too Short from Oakland that made it okay for us to call our women B's and H's in the music. Now, this was just entertainment for them, right? So follow me. This was just entertainment for these guys, right? It's just entertainment. I'm not bashing them, I'm not coming down on them, because I'm guilty of listening to the music too. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on it, right? So when the early '90s, it was this group out of South Central Los Angeles, right? Called NWA. Niggas with attitude that made it okay for us to call ourselves niggas in the music. So it shows the progression of the music, and it shows how something that was supposed to be entertainment spills over into our life, and now it becomes our culture. It becomes who we are. So much so that a rapper by the name of Young Thug now is on trial right here in Atlanta for his lyrics. So the question we have to ask, is this just entertainment or is this real life? And what effect does it have on the black community? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I call what we're doing edutainment, because I understand the importance of the entertainment portion as well as the educational portion of it.
I definitely want your thoughts on music and how it's affecting society. Rick said, I mean, we got somebody down what maybe 20 minutes, maybe not even that down there fighting, and
Fighting for his life and his freedom right now.
they're using his lyrics in prison, but they talk about freedom of speech and things like that.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're using it against them. I mean, how do you use music and lyrics?
Yeah, I definitely feel that words have power, right? And it's really about the interpretation of those words. And so I do believe that it's important that we understand, what those words actually means. And what do I mean by that? So I'm a '90s baby. I grew up in the '90s, and I've never sold a drug before a day of my life. But I listen to Jay-Z every single day of my life. I think since I've been 15 years old, I don't think there's a day that I have not listened to a Jay-Z lyric, starting with Reasonable Doubt when he's giving us game about the drug world, right? Because I grew up in Harlem and I grew up in a space where drug dealing was all around me. Um, I did not interpret those words as making me want to go sell drugs. What it did do, though, for me is learn the rules of the drug game and say, you know what, I'm going to apply this in corporate America. I'm going to apply the hustle. I'm going to apply certain things. So I think that there's context that's really, really important. I definitely don't believe that anybody should be held liable for what they're saying in their lyrics, as a way of entertainment or even as a way of coping, right? Because the truth of the matter is that we're always asking ourselves, is it art imitating life or is it life imitating art, right? And so to the kid who is in poverty and and is growing up listening to certain lyrics, there are lyrics, regardless of what we may think about them. This is how the conversations that's happening in our hoods. That is what's happening, right? In the '70s, even though there was, lyrics talking about how great we are, there was still a heroin epidemic. You get what I'm saying? So there was still things happening, right? And so what I say is, it's important. So I'm an author. I've written 15 books, and what I've done is let's put the medicine in the candy, right? And so I have a book called The Wake Up Call: Financial Lessons Learned from 444. While everybody was focusing on Jay-Z talking about him cheating on Beyonce, I said, you know what? Let me take the 80% of the album when he's talking about generational wealth and credit and the things that people may not even be listening to. And as an educator, let me flip that and let me educate people, so that way when they're listening to that music, they're listening to it with a different ear. Same thing. I have a book called Hustlenomics. Nipsey Hussle, God rest his soul, one of the smartest businessmen on the planet. And when you think about his lyrics were geared towards the gang culture, but it was more so geared to telling them, here's what this gang culture is like, right? So there's this relatability, but also here's how you create cooperative economics. Here's how you create vertical integration, things that people may not know. And so me as a financial educator, I took those lyrics and now explaining it. And so I do think that there are, words have power, but I also believe in the energy of the words, right? And we have to do a better job of staying on code, where while we're listening, and a lot of this is out of our hands, right? Where we don't own the music, right? And so because we don't own the music, there is a concerted effort to really push up, right, the artists like the Sexy Reds, like the Ice Spices, and those are my sisters. But I got a 14-year-old daughter, right? Mm-hmm. And so when when my daughter turns on the radio, I'm not trying to have her, screaming ski and doing all these other things. And so there's a fine line or a balance between what is being pushed to us, and what we allow, in our community, and understand that, all right, if we don't control it now, let's work on controlling it. But while we're working on controlling it, what can we do to lessen the blow or lessen the impact? So which again is why I'll take a Jay-Z lyric or a Jeezy lyric talking about drug dealing, and let's spin that on its head, and let's focus on corporate America and business and things of that nature. And so, I very well know that words have power, and what we're listening to over and over and over again, affects our lives. But also, I think that it's important that we start to figure out how do we change the meaning, if you will, and try to put the medicine in the candy.
No doubt.
I'm thinking about the younger generation and how they can pick up on things like this, and how the curriculum can help them instead of maybe just watching a movie. How do you think this can affect the younger generation when we talk about music and everything like that? How does this impact the younger generation?
Yeah, well, in the film, speech from Arrested Development says, we look at these lyrics like scripture. So just sit that right there for a minute. We look at the lyrics that are in a book, the lyrics that are in a song. We look at it like scripture that's in a book, that's in the Bible, right? So in other words, what he's saying is that we live by these lyrics, right? As Ash just said, with Jay-Z, the 444 album, we live by these lyrics that they're saying. So the thing that, we have to do is understand what's healthy for the culture and understand what's not healthy for the culture. As D1 said, there's a line that's been drawn in the sand between what's real and what's fake. Now, you just have to decide what side you're going to be on. So I challenge the teenagers, the young adolescents, the young adults that's listening to these lyrics. You got to draw a line in the sand, and you have to decide what side you're going to stand on. Are you going to stand on what's real? Are you going to stand on what's fake because it appears to be cool? It appears to be the end thing. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the things, that's the conversation that we're looking to spark with the information that's in the curriculum. Those are some of the conversations we're looking to have at the B1 Kwanzaa experience coming up on December the 28th, right here in Atlanta, in the West End, in the historic West End. So those are the questions that we have to ask, and those are the tough conversations that we have to start having.
Yeah, and I'll just add something to that as well. I think that what entertains you trains you, right? And so as you are, if you're left to your own devices, as you're listening to the lyrics, or if you're listening to the direction that the culture is trying to take you, if there isn't a context that's put out there, then we allow our youth, we allow our culture to be in disarray. And so I think that the B1 curriculum is really, really important because it is drawing context, and it's giving choices, right? When I think about how I grew up, in the '90s. While there was NWA, there was also self-destruction. There was also, right, while Apache was talking about gangster bitch, right? Queen Latifah was like UNITY, who you calling a bitch, right? So there was this level of of balance, if you will, and then people knew that they had a choice. And I think that movies like B1, the curriculum is really, really important to show that there is a choice, right? Now we live in a space of on demand, right? So we could decide, are we going to be listening to, things that are, self-destructive, or are we going to find and seek the positivity? And so the more we could talk about the power of words, the power of lyrics, the power of the scriptures, and really kind of give people context about what it is to be on code, how to follow that code. Here's the direction. Now you are going to be more aware about what you should be putting into your body, right? From a music perspective, from a food perspective, and so I think it's important that and that's why I'm happy to be a part of the B1 movie, to use my voice as someone to say, all right, here is what we should be doing, and then now you have context. Now you are hearing, what we're saying, and now you get to choose which direction you want to go.
Wrapping it up, y'all. Just last question, I guess. What do you all want people to take away from B1, the movie, the curriculum, either platform?
Wow. Well, there's three components that we really focus in on when we look at B1 the movie, B1 the curriculum. Those components are mental health, spiritual health, and financial health. Now, as we look at mental health, right now there is a mental health crisis going on. There's a lot of gun violence as a result of these mental health issues. There was just a shooting in Buckhead a couple of days ago where two brothers got killed. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know him personally, but someone that I knew the brothers, and he shared the story of the mother having to come down here and bury two brothers, a mother losing two brothers. You know what I'm saying? And the financial health. The financial health is very important because, again, as Ash Cash said, it addresses all of these other issues. It addresses the mental health, because the reason why a lot of people are depressed is because they don't have the funds. They don't have the finances to take care of their family, to be a man and to be looked at as a man, in their family. And then the last component, is the spiritual health. And spiritual health really relates to our culture, what we're doing, who we are as a people. In African spirituality, we have what we call griots. And griots were the storytellers that would share our stories, that would share who we are, that will share what it means to be on code in this society and in this culture. So their job was very important. So that's why, we addressed those three areas. So the thing that I would like for people to take away is really just to step back and look at, what you're doing in society. What line are you standing on? Are you on the real or are you on the fake? Are you on code? Are you off code? And have an honest conversation with yourself, with your family, with your friends. Because right now, we're in a different time and age. We're in the age of love, the age of peace, the age of being on code, the age of truth. That's why you're seeing so many things that are being revealed in the media, from something that somebody did 20 years ago that they're now having to be on trial and having to face. So at the end of the day, we all we got, but we're all we need. So I say it's time for us to get on code, Black people. Love yourself first.
Yeah. And for me, in the B1 movie, I shared a quote by Jay-Z that said, everybody wants to be us. We just got to see us. And so for me, what I want people to get out of the curriculum as well as the movie is let us see ourselves. Let us understand that there is nothing on this planet that doesn't move without us. We are the culture. We are business. We set the trends and we allow other people to literally pimp us. If you look at the dictionary definition of what a pimp does, a pimp takes advantage of somebody of value and makes the money off of that person who has the value. And so we are literally being pimped by other ethnicities because we don't put ourselves first, because we don't see us. They see us, right? Because they want to be us and they see us and they are monetarily taking advantage of that. And so for me, when anybody watches the B1 movie, when you take advantage of the B1 curriculum, I want you to understand that you are the value, and now it's time to own your own, create wealth. You should be benefiting off of who you are. So please see yourself, and as you see yourself, now you can maximize your full potential as well as create generational wealth for you and your family.
Powerful. And if I can conclude with this last piece here for the B1 Kwanzaa experience, is just the kind of the copy or the commercial for the radio commercial, which simply says Gwen Lewis Foundation is a foundation that I started for my late mom, who made a transition during the making of the film B1 in 2020, January 2022. But the Gwen Lewis Foundation, West End Filmmakers, and Legacy Management Group presents B1 Kwanzaa Experience, which is a festive experience with special guests Ash Cash, Dr. Chika Akur, Blue Pill, and other B1 cast members. We are honoring West End's own brother Kenneth Zaki with the Freedom Fighters Award. On December the 28th, we'll celebrate Kwanzaa Principle number 3, Ujima, which is collective unity and responsibility. And in that, we will have what's called the Black Business Roll Call, which is an opportunity for Black businesses to highlight their business. And this will all take place at the Return to Royalty Ballroom in the Soul Vegetarian Complex, right in historic West End, which is 879 Ralph David Abernathy, Atlanta, Georgia, 30310. So for more information, do go to B1 The Movie. B1 The Movie, that's the website. B1 The Movie is also the Instagram, the Facebook, and all of that. Did you have anything coming up, Ash, that you wanted to?
I would just tell everybody, follow me on all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. My website is iamashcash.com. Looking forward to connecting with the community and really just helping us, manage our finances. But first, it comes with that mindset. So once you get your mind right, you get your money right. And I'm just happy to be a part of this project.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Let's get a quick pick.